to another edition of Techniques, Tactics, and Strategies for MMA Tip of the Week. And today's video tutorial is going to cover an important topic known as defense, and why defense seems to be the longest and the most neglected skill set in mixed martial arts competition, specifically for striking skill sets. There are many ways to use tactical defenses, and tactical defenses, what that means is that specific actions that you're going to take, whether they're pre-sought out or they're decided in the moment based on what you perceive in front of you. In other words, what your opponent's doing in front of you, or what you're seem to be experiencing in your own mind in that moment. So defenses can consist of blocking skills, evasion skills, footwork skills, covering skills, intercepting skills, and the list goes on. But we're going to cover today one specific topic that, for whatever reason, does not seem to be used very much in mixed martial arts, and that is blocking and parrying skills. Okay? Now, most mixed martial arts fighters study boxing, and boxing has some degree of blocking skills where they cover in here and take it on the elbows and the gloves, and they even parry or kind of catch a jab or something like that. But there's no reason why somebody cannot do repetitive blocking skills to keep their opponent at bay, and also buy yourself enough time in order to evade or set up a counterattack. It seems like most mixed martial arts skill sets when it comes to defense is basically of something like this, where you got two fighters who are standing toe-to-toe in here, and here, switch your stance. Left side. Yeah. And what happens is that they're so focused in on hitting the guy with one shot that what ends up happening is that most particular common defenses in MMA are to trade punches back and forth, which means that they don't try to protect themselves and use a part of their body that's less susceptible to injury to stop the attack. But what they do is, throw a punch slow in here, is that they take a punch in the face in order to give one back. And we just keep kind of doing this back and forth in here. You see this a lot, right, in UFC bouts and big bouts, and they're just trading punches. And what's happening is that we're both trying to kind of duck out of the way and just try to hopefully hit my target. Because the last thing I remember before I close my eyes in here, right, so as he throws a punch slow in here and I close my eyes, or I look down, I can't really see where this target is, but I kind of know it was somewhere right here. So if I swing my fist in the vicinity of where I saw the target last, okay, I might hit the guy. And he's doing the same thing. So as we go back and forth in here, we're either missing and glancing off, or we're taking a shot, and what ends up happening is, throw a punch in here, is boom, one punch gets there quicker than mine, and I can't see it, and what results in a flash knockout when I go down. And that seems to be a very common form of defense, but it's a very poor and unintelligent way of defending yourself. And I'm not going to get into this video today about why they do that. I know a lot about why they do that. That's more of an emotional, psychological thing. And but it is a really silly way of defense. Okay, so another form of defense that fighters seem to do quite a bit, which is better than trading punches, but it's pure passive and it's purely defensive in nature, is footwork. And what they do is instead of being tactical and moving just enough, or moving with angles in here in order to counterattack the person coming in, right? What they do is when they deal with somebody who's, charging in, or somebody who kind of throws an aggressive attack, me demonstrating the retreater in here, is what they do is he throws a punch at me in here, is I run out of the way, or I jump out of the way like that. In other words, I completely leave the scene in here like this. I hop out of the way. Sometimes you see them, go ahead, bicycling backwards in here like this. And what ends up happening is it puts me way out of the fight, purely defensive, and does not put me into a position of counterattack. Okay, so it's okay to do that once in a while, if I'm spooked in here, whoa, like this in here. But to do that as a primary form of defense just shows, the fear in the guy retreating's mindset. In other words, he doesn't want anything to do with that kind of energy. So he takes himself out of position, their spine leans back, they retreat, their hands go out like this for balance. You'll see stuff like this, you know, here jumping out of the way. And it just puts you in a completely passive position and doesn't allow you to get right back in the fight. So it's better than taking, you know, unnecessary, you know, impact to your face, but it doesn't put you in a position to strike back immediately, right? Now, on the other hand, let's say that I kind of read this guy's energy in here, right? Particularly, you know, if he attacks a certain pattern every time, and I do something like this. So he throws an attack at me, and I step back a little bit, and I step in and hit, right? So I may come up and bring my arms up in here, whoop, right? Boom, and I step right back in here. So I slide back just a little bit in order to kind of, you know, let this guy kind of fill in the void of where I was. Right? Boom, right, boom, and I come back and I deliver a technique, right? That would be more of a tactical footwork in here, right? Or another variation of it would be like if I did some kind of a side step. So let's say he throws a straight punch in here, I step over here, right? And then I come through, boom, and I step in like this, okay? Right? I'm not leaving this area, but I'm just simply just kind of, you know, revolving around a moving door, right? As he comes at me in here, right, I move out of the way a little bit, the punch can go over here, and then I come back and I counter the guy. Okay? Right? So retreating out of the way and running out of the way is, you know, is kind of a very passive form of defense, not taking any damage, but you're not able to set up any kind of instant counterattack. And the problem is if you keep repeating that over and over, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up, you know, running backwards into the cage, and you're going to set yourself up to getting taken down, which still happens. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about blocking skill sets that you should use and start training in to help you improve your MMA game that allows you to still buy yourself a moment, use your footwork, and still be able to hit back relatively quickly. Okay, when it comes to blocking and parrying, this is actually a pretty simple skill set to use. But you need to train it in a lot. You want to make it one of your primary forms of defense. The reason why is because human nature is to defend themselves and protect their biocomputer, you know, and their beingness or their soul. So in the center in here, if you drew up an X or a box around my heart and head in here like this, even down maybe my groin, this area in here is very vital to us bipedals, right? Remember, everything that we do that's vulnerable to us, right, in here is underneath, right? All our vital organs are tucked underneath, right? My groin, my throat, my eyes are sunken back in here, my solar plexus, all my organs are here, right? On my back and stuff, it's a pretty hard, you know, outer shell. I mean, I can take, you know, a considerable amount of damage to the outside of my body in here, right? More than I can take to my inside, right? So if somebody, you know, threw a punch and hit me right in the back, you know, it's not going to do the damage where if somebody were to hit me, you know, square in the diaphragm or something like that, or someone would have, you know, front kicked me in the groin, right? If somebody kicked me in the groin hard enough, it could kill me, or it could rupture something in here. But if someone kicks me in the ass in here, not going to do anything. So this area in here is very, very vulnerable to any kind of blunt force trauma, okay, or any kind of if you were talking about, you know, edge weapons or knife, any kind of thing that's going to cut or puncture. So this area should be protected first and foremost. And this is why we need to use our limbs, our arms, right, an area of our body that you know that's less susceptible to injury, that can take the damage temporarily. Right? I mean, I can, no matter how hard he punches in here, right? And you don't punch harder, but you know, if he throws a punch in here like this, and my arm gets in the way in here like this, right? Even with gloves on, his knuckles and wrists are going to start to fracture, dislocate, smash. He's going to feel pain in his body, his nervous system in here is going to send that to his brain before my skeletal structure damages. Okay, I can take a hellacious amount of punishment on my arms. Right? You know, I may have bruising and stuff like that, right? But that's not going to take a fighter out of a sport combat fight, right? I even can take a laceration in the arm in here. There's really not a whole lot of arteries and nerves in here that's going to really stop me, at least, you know, in 10, 15, 30 seconds in here in order to escape or to end the fight in here and end him and attack back, right? So if we're talking about sport combat in here, especially if he's got, you know, little pads on his hands, you know, I can take a hellacious amount of impact in here, okay? So typically, here, let's go this way a little bit, step over here. Typically, you know, when we're talking about blocking, okay, and I'm going to cover this very briefly in here as far as range because I don't want to make this video forever. But when you apply blocking and parrying skills, you need to be operating from a distance that allows you to some evasion and footwork in case you screw it up. In other words, you need footwork and evasion as some kind of margin for error. All right, you do not want to be standing here toe-to-toe with somebody like this, and he throws, you know, a punch out here, and if I screw this up, right, I eat it like this because my parrying and blocking is off, right? Parrying and blocking, one of the disadvantages that it requires is timing. You have to time it just right, okay? So if you think evasion skills are hard, when you're moving your, you know, if he throws a punch and I slip the punch out of the way like this, and I'm relying on my purely perception of my eyesight, right, to make this guy miss in here like this, and I'm not blocking. What do you think? How, you know, that you think, you know, this is much harder to do, right? Now, if I block in here, right, I don't have to rely just on moving my head, but I should be able to move my head out of the way or move my whole body out of the way as my last resort in case I screw up, because timing is a concern. So flinching and blinking and stuff is something that you really need to train in really hard a lot. Like it should be like a, you know, use it, you know, as your part of your warm-up drills and stuff. Use it as a lot of drilling to work on these blocking skills and without blinking in here and timing these things just right and staying in a functional fighting platform. Okay? So the principles here for right now is you need to have, you know, a proper distancing. You need to control your distance, okay? So you need to find out where you are, you know, where's your optimal, and where, you know, where you're not very good at in here, right? And then, okay. 2 is you need to work on your vision and your perception. All right. And the next principle is you need to work on literally keeping your body in your stance in a functional position at all times. It's not going to do you any good. You know, if you stand and you throw a punch in my face in here, and I go like this, and even though I blocked it good, I'm out of position. That means I can't get back. Okay? My spine's out of alignment. Now, if I couple that with footwork in here, throw the punch again, and I go like this in here, I might be able to get out of the way and scramble back into a stance before he jumps on me. But as soon as I'm out of position in here, he's going to jump on me immediately. That's what he's looking for if he's paying attention. Okay? So anytime you use blocking skills and you throw your body out of position, even though you successfully, you know, stop the technique in here, you're still taking more time in order to get back to the hit or get into a functional fighting platform, right? Because remember, worst case scenario, always worst case scenario. He throws technique number 1, and then follows up with technique 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, so if he throws 1 and I'm out of position and he throws 2 and I go like this in here, I'm completely, you know, oh shoot, how do I deal with that one? Or if he throws technique number 1 and I'm out of position and he tackles me, right, in here and comes in like this, I can't stop this because I'm completely out of position because I wasn't ready for that initial attack. Okay, so those 3 principles. Okay, now that I've gone over some of the key principles for an effective blocking and parrying skills, let's go ahead and get right into the actual techniques. We're going to simplify this down into basically 2 lines of attack, because there's realistically only 2 ways a strike can come at you, circular or linear. I'll go ahead and define that. And we're going to label striking, the blocking skills as, your blocking skills, or your blocking techniques are things that are going to intercept and stop and nullify something immediately. So we're going to call those blocking skills, and most of the time those are going to be your circular strikes that someone's throwing at you. Your hooks, your uppercuts, your overhands and stuff like that. You know, your backhands and stuff, you know, spinning hammer fists, you know, swings like that. Right? So blocking skills are something that's coming at an opposing angle in here, and then it's like, you know, force on force, and boom, they just nullify. Your parrying skills are going to be more of your deflections. Okay, and usually we're gonna say that when you parry something, you're gonna most likely your linear strikes. All right, things that are coming right between your guard and here like that. Okay, so you have outside gates and you have basically center line and inside gates. All right, so if he's standing here and puts his arms up in here like this, okay, let's face the camera in here. All right, so basically his outside gates or anything coming around out here like this, okay? And that even means coming down here to the mid gate of the body. So we have our mid gate of the body, and we have our upper gate of the body, and then we even have a low gate of the body, which is like in the groin. Okay, so anything that's coming outside this perimeter is, we're going to say that that's where your blocking techniques are going to occur. All right. Now, face it, still stay there. So we're here now. Anything that's coming straight in here like this, okay, right? Even if it's high, mid, and low, is what we're going to say is our parrying techniques. In other words, things are coming here are going to be deflected, right? And they're still going to, take a different course. Right, so if he's facing me in here, and he throws a straight punch to my face, right, and I smack this thing out of the way, okay, if you look in here, right, let's kind of face this way, if you look in here, the technique is going over here, okay, but it's still, going that direction. In other words, it's not stopping immediately, right, but it's getting out of my line of fire. So a parrying technique would be literally, he throws a punch, right? I just pop it out of the way, okay? Back up a little more in here, okay? And it doesn't matter how he wants to throw the technique, really, okay? What matters is where the technique is ending up. So what I like to do is I like to put myself in this kind of like, in this cage position, because what that does from here is that makes me have to do less work. In other words, in order for him to hit me in my head, in my biocomputer, he either has to go through the center, or he's got to go around. It's either those two options, or it's nothing. And if those are those only two options, I'm going to make it very difficult for him to do that. It means he's really going to have to commit, because my head is pulled back in here. So I'm not like this, and I'm not hanging my hands down here. I'm hanging my hands up in this area, so I don't have to move them that far. If something comes up to my, if I'm standing down here like this, and he throws a punch to my head, I gotta go up and down. Alright, so throw it up to my eyesight. Boom, up and down. Now if I hold my hands way up here, and he throws a punch to my head, I don't have to go that far. But if he throws one to my body, I gotta go way down here like this. So I want to economize my motion and minimize how far I gotta go. Because remember, I don't know exactly what he's going to do. Okay? So we're going to start with the kind of the parry, the inside lines first, because those are the harder ones to stop. Right? Straight lines in here are usually kind of harder, in line with my depth perception. It's kind of harder to see. It's kind of like looking at, down the street. If you're looking down the street and you see a car coming at you, it's kind of hard sometimes to judge the distance of that until it's kind of right on top of you. Right? Okay? So what that looks like is, keeping it simple in here is I put my hands in this cage, and I want to keep my hands open. And all I'm going to do, as he throws a punch, is I'm just going to hit this thing with the palm of my hand, right, and just bring this thing right back in position. In other words, I'm just bringing my arm over in here like this. I'm not using my wrist. I'm not doing this in here, trying to flick this thing with my wrist or grab it, because I don't have the strength in my wrist. And when hands are sweaty and things are moving very quickly in here, it's very easy, as he throws a punch, this thing slides off, boom, and it still hits me in here like that. So I want to use my palm in here more to get this thing, okay? But I kind of want to keep my hand relatively neutral so I can go right back into a striking technique, okay? So my parrying skills basically are, I just want to move that fit, just enough in here, okay? Just to get right over, boom, like that. Okay. So let's come over this way more, get a better angle on. So as I'm here, okay, hold on a second. As I'm here and he throws one to my face, boom, my hands are coming right back. Okay, bam, and my head can move a little bit like I just did. That's a little margin for error, but I don't want to be, reaching out. Okay, I don't want to be trying to grab it. I don't want to put my hand in front of it and try to, catch it like a catcher's mitt, like you would do with a boxing glove on. Okay, I want to deflect that thing, because as soon as that punch moves past in here, past my face, when it means it gets right off center line, it's over. He can't do anything else with it. Maybe throw a back fist real quick if he's paying it, if he's smart enough. But this technique is done. What I'm looking for is technique number 2 that he's going to throw. Or more importantly, I want to either escape with footwork or set up a counterattack. Okay? Now I'm not saying that people don't block and parry and stuff, but if they do, most of the time it's just defense by itself. Which means they defend and then that's it. They don't counter off it instantly. And so this kind of, what I want to explain is, I want to be able to get to the hit immediately, okay? So if we switch sides in here and show it from a different angle, what this means is that, so he's going to throw his left in here, is I'm going to put my hands in a position where I don't have to go that high. So if he throws my face, right, I just want to bring my hand right back in here. The hard part here is waiting for this thing to come, is not to get too excited and try to reach out like that. Okay? I don't want to put my hands on the center line like this, because what's going to happen is that as he starts throwing punches over the top, I'm going to be going like, and he throws one down the center, and I'm going, where the hell is this thing coming at? I don't want to have to make those decisions under duress. Alright? This is hard enough as it is. I want to have my hands right here and say, you know what? You want to hit me? Right through the goalie net, man. You have to come right down the center in here like that. Okay? And by doing that also, if he tries to come around and throw a block, okay, like a hook, or I attempt to block and he throws a hook, by putting my hand here, I don't have to go very far. Right? So if I put my hands on the center line, he throws a hook, I gotta go way out. And if he throws a straight punch in here, it's right in my face again. It's kind of like dealing with that whole here comes the car type of thing, actually, like that. I don't want to have to do that. When people do that, the tendency they start to flinch and blink in here. Okay? Alright, so those two lines of attack, right, coming up to the high gate to the center line, and then coming around, right, are the ones we want to focus on primarily. Alright, now that I've kind of described kind of what a parry is, again, I don't want to get so detailed with this, let's go ahead and go into how to kind of work on the blocking technique. So blocking is, going to be, again, your interceptions in here, and primarily we're going to kind of work against a hook punch in here. So so for camera purposes in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this arm for right now, just this moment, and I'm going to cheat this a little bit so you can kind of see what's happening here. So what I'm going to have him do is I'm going to have him throw a really wide loopy hook, on purpose, so you can kind of see kind of what has to happen. Because if you do it too, tactical at first, then it's hard to see what's happening. So when I do a block, I want to stop it more on where the humerus and the radius and ulna bone kind of meet the elbow joint, okay? Anywhere along kind of like the mid-forearm down. I mean, if I catch it here, if it hits me here, if it hits me on the glove, so be it. But I don't want to focus kind of on the wrist and above, okay? Especially with these gloves on. And what I'm going to do as he throws the technique in here, right, is I'm going to, now he's going to have to commit a little more because he's obviously got shorter arms, right? So here's one of the advantages, that person who's going to throw a hook on you, they're going to really have to come around, right? So even right here, okay, if you look at this, he's got a long way to go to push my jaw that way, right? He's got to go through my jaw, at least 3 to 6 inches, or torque my jaw, my spinal column 3 to 6 inches beyond the range of motion in order to create a shock wave in here, okay? That's going to TKO me. I'm not talking about just tagging me, okay? So if I put my guard stance with my arms off my shoulders, where my shoulders naturally hang, okay? Not like this in here, like I was saying in the previous clip, okay? To minimize how far I gotta go. If I put my arms right here, and he has to throw a hook coming around, it's going to be very hard for him to get around even close, because what I've done is not only have I put my arm up, but I've also put it out. And what I'm doing is because I'm intercepting his energy at a right angle in here. Okay, go ahead. That it literally comes to a screeching halt. Now, if my arm is if my arm is like this is okay. If my arm is slightly like this is okay. But once I get beyond kind of this, all right, then I'm kind of having problems in here. Now again, because he's got much shorter limbs than me, he has to commit a lot more. But if somebody was able to, get the jump on me perceptually in here, or is the same height as me, or longer limbs in here, and I'm gonna do this. For camera purposes, I'm gonna get closer in here, and he throws a hook, and I go like this. He might get around me in here like that. Okay. Now normally he's not gonna throw a big loopy hook like that, but I was having him demonstrate that so you can kind of see the kind of the interception in here, right? So again, putting my arm up in here, he throws a hook, right, this side of here, right? I'm coming out just a little bit. Right? I don't want to go out too soon. I want to time, so do it again. I don't want to go like this. Okay, and I don't want to go like this. I don't want to stay here and take it. Now, a lot of fighters think that this is blocking. And in theory, kind of it is. But we don't look at this as blocking. We look at it as you're covering. You're actually taking the hit much closer to your biocomputer than what you would like because you are behind the game. If I'm doing this in here, go ahead, like this, even though I stopped it, I kind of flinched. I kind of went, oh shit, what the hell was that? Which, for a moment, delays my counter response. So you're taking the punch very close to your biocomputer, and I'd rather, again, take it on my arms. It's, part of my body is less susceptible to injury than my head. But for a better way to block, so I have again, I can get to the hit faster, is I want to keep it further right out here. That way I can immediately just boom to fire right back in here like that. Okay, so not timing it right, going ugh, and then doing it again. Going out here, those two extremes are too much. If I go way out here, I'm exposed. Okay, if I don't go out far enough, he may hit me. Sometimes fighters throw a punch and throw a hook again hard, right? Boom! And they're not ready for it. They're not ready to flex. And what ends up happening is this happens. Boom, and then whomp, their own fist, MMA gloves, not boxing gloves, smashes them in the cranium and still creates enough of a shock wave to TKO them, hurt them. Okay? So those two extremes, too far and too not enough, are a big no-no when it comes to blocking. Okay, now that I've talked about blocking to the upper gate, dealing with a circular line, let's go ahead and talk about blocking and parrying down to the mid-gate in case that happens. It's the same principles, right? I'm either dealing with a circular, something coming circular in here, coming around my body, or something coming straight, right down the pipe in here. So it could be a fist, it could be a straight punch, it could be an uppercut, it could be a front kick in here like this, right? But the same principles apply. I mean, I'm going to put a wall kind of around that area, right? Around my diaphragm, around my ribs in here, liver like this, and even down into my groin if it got down that low, right? Only exception is my arms are not going to come down here and try to down to my lower gate, down to my feet. Okay, so arms are going to deal with stuff more up in here, the upper gate, mid gate, right, and then some degree of the low gate, and then the feet are going to be, used on, by themselves. So, throwing a body cross, you can throw as a body punch. The simple parry would be to, again, I'm going to deflect this thing. Go ahead, throw it. It's down in here like that. So this punch is going to go downward, and then wherever it goes from there. Okay, what I'm trying to do is just create a quick downward motion. So I'm creating a pendulum down here. So remember, the upper gate was more up here. Now the body strike, I'm just changing the angle. Okay, now it's important that, put your arm out there, that I form a right angle. Okay, that I'm not like this. Why? Because if he throws that quickly in here, I'll slide off, and that's still going to drive into me if he's committed. Okay, now this is for people who throw body punches. Right, so I'm going to do it to you for a second. Right, when someone throws a body punch, a serious body puncher is not going to go like this. Okay, here, right, or here. Right, someone's going to really try to come in and really land one in there. So you want to make sure if he throws it with an energy like that, go ahead. Right, that you really hit that thing out of the way, like that. And slide back if you feel like, uh-oh, that's too much. Okay, so again, you want to make sure that this elbow, go ahead, stays with it. Now I'm pushing downward or hitting downward. I'm not trying to bring my elbow out here. All right, I'm not trying to swoop it out of the way. I'm not trying to hit it this way. I'm literally just coming straight down on it and intercepting my wrist into his wrist in here, like that, or his wrist. Okay? And I want to make sure, here's one of the things you got to worry about, is that you don't go out and go get it. Because if he fakes you, okay, so he throws a fake, whoop, and then I'm hit here. That's why this hand has to be in place, right? Which brings me, to future concepts in here, that you need to be ready to do perpetual defense. It means you need to be ready to block multiple times if needed to be. Okay, just like you move multiple times with your feet to avoid a technique, you don't just move once all the time. Sometimes you only need to, sometimes you need to move 5, 6, 7 times. The same thing with blocking. So I have to have this other hand ready. Okay? So inside, so parry down to the mid gate, coming here. Okay? Right? This way like this. It could be either hand. Okay? Now let's talk about a block. If he throws a punch, let's say he throws an uppercut, right? And now for someone who's throwing it out here, you got to be a moron to do that, but just for the purpose of the block, it's the same basic thing. He throws an uppercut, and I'm bringing the arm, right, at a right angle in here, like this, right? So the other arm too, boom, in here. The same basic thing, except for I'm intercepting it right here. Okay? Again, making sure that I stay within this 90-degree area as much as possible, that I'm not getting way out here. Okay? Because again, if he fakes me, right? So fake me and throw something to the head. I gotta have this hand here. Okay? Whoa! Boom! Which means my arms need to be able to come over and windshield wipe and protect the opposing line if it need to be. Okay? That's why both arms in combat need to be equally accessible to offense and defense. Equally, with a capital E, accessible with a capital A. For offense and defense. Not one hand's defense and one hand's primarily offense in here. I want to have 2 shields and 2 swords subconsciously ready to go. Therefore, any hand is freely to express defense and offense. Okay? Now, if he throws a body hook coming around in here, right? And he really, he's going to have to really get in here like this. Okay? I can go ahead, I can change that thing out here, right? So if you look at this from this angle in here, I can form this right angle in here, but I got to make sure that again I stop it. Okay. So there's a couple ways to do it. You can do it here, okay, or you can do it again, or I can kind of go here. You can do those 2 options in here, right? Either way, you got to form this wall like this. If you do it this way, you protect your head a lot more in case he comes right up to the head with this hand in here like this. Okay? If you do it this way, okay, and he throws a hook, you may not be able to get your arm up in time. That way it means the other hand's going to have, right? But sometimes one of those 2 responses are going to come out. Just seems to, for me, it's just, you know, both of them work because I'm comfortable with it. But you're going to find one that, you know, it's going to work better for you for your dexterity. So outside blocking, right, coming in here, boom, okay, or boom, like this, right? Either way, my hand is right here. So if he throws a straight punch and throws a hook, okay, straight punch, hook, straight punch, hook, okay, do it again, straight punch, right to my wrist, hook, okay. Those are 2 ways you can block down to the mid gate, okay. So go ahead and work on that, as well as work on the parries to the upper gate and the blocking to the upper gate as well. Okay, now that we've covered the basics of the gates of blocking and parrying, all right. Now what you want to be able to do, this is where the practicing comes in your sparring and drilling, is to work on perpetual defense, is to work on repetitive blocking and parrying skills in all kinds of sparring applications. So you want to spend time like really just working on this defensive skill set only. Okay? So one of the things what you would do is if you're just working on the aspect of just timing it with your limbs, okay, it's not sparring. In other words, he's just feeding you techniques and then you're just defending, right? Because you don't have to worry about moving right now. So earlier what I said about footwork, don't worry about that. Get used to putting these limbs in the right spot at the right time. So if he gets into his fighting stance, you want to put yourself in a position where that you can make this work for you. Because remember, his job is just to feed you the punches. He's not trying to fake you out right now. Okay, so this is a cooperative drill designed to get you to block effectively. So you're going to put yourself in your cage, your guard stance in here. And what you're going to do is you want to make sure is that when you are doing these in here, that your training partner gives you time to recover. So when first start out with one technique. So if he throws a straight punch, right? You bring your hand right back. And then you're going to reset, and he's going to throw another punch. Okay, and throw up a little higher. Right. And what you're going to try to do is you're just going to try to time it in here. Okay, boom. And he just gives you time to reset. And he can throw the punch kind of at any angle. He can throw it vertical, he can throw it horizontal, he can throw it inverted here like this, he can kind of throw a backhand, he can kind of throw from center line like this, all kinds of different ways. You know, and I encourage you to practice with your training partners and stuff to throw techniques in ways that normally you wouldn't throw them. So you just get to see a wide variety of angles. All right? That's another one of the misconceptions is that, you know, with defensive skills, that when they practice, you know, in styles, they practice with the same techniques. Like Wing Chun, for example. I studied Wing Chun for a long time. And they're always doing defenses based on a guy throwing Wing Chun punches. So it's Wing Chun techniques against Wing Chun techniques. But what happens is what about the guy who's standing here like this, you know, who throws a weird punch in here like that, right? That comes out of such an artless action. A lot of these conventional techniques, you're so preconceived on, okay, it's going to be, you know, Tung Sao in here like this, or Pak Sao in here like that, or here, all right, you mistime it because you're expecting the guy to be at the right position at the right time. And that's not what happens in MMA, especially MMA when they're grappling and charging forward and leading with their head and all that. Okay, so again, put yourself in position, and let's say he's going to throw a hook, okay, and you're just going to come out in here. Right? Boom. Like that. Make sure you just time that thing just right. Bang. And then right back. Make sure that you come right back to your fighting stance. Right? Boom. In here. Okay? Bang. Right? Boom. Alright, just the hook in there. Boom. Okay? Boom. Okay, so let's flip sides. So throwing from the other side in here. Alright, so if he throws his straight punch in here. Boom. Okay? Boom. Okay, right back up a little bit. Boom. With it. Let this side only. Alright. Okay. Look at this. Okay, he throws a hook. Boom. Alright, boom. Boom. There you go. Boom. That's all I'm doing. Just stopping it back and bringing it right back. Alright, so that way now, what happens is now you're going to do a perpetual defense. It means he's going to throw two attacks. Okay, of the same technique. So we're going to start out with straight punches. So we'll start from this angle. So he's going to throw two strikes. Left, right, right, left, and and kind of reset in here. And your goal is to keep yourself watching for the next technique, right? Go ahead, 2, 1, 2. Right to my face. Boom, boom. Okay, back. Okay, relax yourself if you need to be. Let's back up a little bit in here. Put yourself in your cage in here. Right, 1, 2. Right, back. Okay, now he can mix up the timing in here. You can throw them faster, you can throw them with more power and telegraph them more. And again, I encourage you to do that so you help your training partner work with a wide variety of not only just kind of angles in here, right? So if he's throwing two punches, 1, 2, space them out, right? It could be 1, 2, it could be very much quicker, right? One punch could be kind of coming from down here, 1, 2, right? Or 1, and 2. Change the angle just a little bit because that's going to make you really have to connect to what he's doing. I want to connect to him. I want to connect to the external perception. I already know what I need to do. I need to watch. I need to put the limb in the right spot at the right time. Don't try to guess what he's going to do. Don't think if he throws left and right, he's going to throw right, left next. It could be the reverse. It could be completely, opposite what you're thinking in here. So just watch and just play the game, right? 1, 2. Okay? 1, 2. Now throw your punches different here, right? Boom, boom, right? Right? Bang. Straight punches up, bang. Here. So left, right now. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Okay? He can have his hands in a different position in here. My hands are always right here. So I can go right back and do a technique. That is the point. Okay, I want them right in a position in here. Go ahead. 1, 2, fire. Okay. 1, 2, fire. Okay. 1, 2, fire. Okay. He could throw 3, 4, 5. Throw 3. 1, 2, 3, fire. Right. 1, 2, 3, fire. Faster. 1, 2, 3, fire. Right. It's literally you're kind of playing patty cake with the guy, letting him commit. Let him come to you. You just wait for it. Okay? Alright, so now let's go ahead and kind of do the hooks. Alright, let's switch sides. So if he throws a hook, okay, let's say he throws 2 hooks. Okay, throw 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Boom. 1, 2. Remember, you're just kind of not moving right now, so you get the timing down. 1, 2. If you start trying to move first, you're going to not train the physical defense in. If you move first, then you don't have any confidence in the blocking. Block first, then move if necessary. So again, 2 hooks. 1, 2. Okay, see like that? All right. Now, what if he throws a straight punch, then a circular strike? Okay. Now he can throw a straight punch and then a circular strike, straight and then circular off the same limb. Okay. So we'll stay with this side. So he throws a straight punch, boom, boom. So now your hand has to get right back in position. Bang, bang. Throw more on my face. Bang, bang. Okay. You're right here. Boom, boom. Good. Boom, boom. Okay. So let's switch sides. So the left, bang, bang, bang. Okay? Pretty simple, okay? Now, what if he throws the opposite? What if he throws a straight punch with his right hand and throws a circular punch with his left hand? Then you're going to have both hands in the fight here. Okay? Very simple, right? What about body punch? He throws a body punch with his left. All right, straight. Okay. He throws 2 body punches, straight punches. All right. Back up. Okay. That's how that works, right? If he throws a straight punch and then a circular punch off the same limb. Boom, boom. Okay, that's how we got through. Bang, bang. Okay. Bang, bang. Okay. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. A little faster. Okay. So those directions, all those directions you want to work at. Okay. You want to mix them in 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s and all kinds of things. You know, straight, 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 straight. Come around. You know, circular, circular. Right. Coming underneath like this. Okay. So he throws, hook, hook, and then finishes with an uppercut. In my head, boom, boom. Okay. Bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Or he throws, a straight swarm of straight punches and then finishes with a hook. All right. Okay. The whole time my eyes are focused right on his chest area. Okay. I'm really watching his chest, shoulder area. I'm not looking at his eyes. I can look at his hands, but I'm not getting concerned at his eyes at all. I don't care about his facial expressions. I want to look the whole time. I just want to zone out right here. So because no matter what he does, no matter what anybody does, when they throw a technique with their arms, they have to move this. This has to move to some degree, right? Especially if you're doing something like that or coming here. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the entire limb to come out, and I'm waiting to make sure that finishes on the outside of my guard. Okay, so he throws a hook slow in here. I'm watching. Boom! Right, I'm not starting my block right here because that punch hasn't committed to my side of the line of scrimmage. Right, I'm waiting. Wham! Okay, again, boom! Okay, so wherever it catches, okay? He throws a straight punch. I'm not starting it right here. I'm waiting until it gets there. Wham! Right here. Boom! Like that. The more he commits, the more I wait for him to commit, the harder it's going to be for him to recover. All those drills, the drills we just did, any footwork that you need to do, you need to make sure that you do just enough to keep you in your functional fighting platform. Okay, so meaning that whatever multiple attacks that you get in here like this. Okay, back up a little bit. When he steps in to throw a punch, right, in here, you need to slide back. Step in, come in. Right, boom. Okay? You need to make sure that you slide back enough in case something doesn't quite seem right in the moment and you have to make quick adjustments. Okay, like that. So you kind of threw that hook in here and went, whoa! Right? So here I'm kind of out of position a little bit. I want to try to avoid this. Okay, that's not the easiest thing to do, but I should focus on that when I'm doing these drills, right? So if he comes in again, right, boom, I want to step back a little bit so I can get right back into the hit. I don't want to be going like this. Ugh. Okay, I don't want to be going like this. Ugh. In here, stuff like that, right? That just totally negates my blocking skills and just makes me in retreat mode. Okay? There's times of retreat completely, but not every time is a form of avoidance. Okay? You want to try to avoid, you want to try to connect. Go ahead, slow. Defense, offense. Right? Now, okay, go ahead. Not defense, offense. That's too much of a gap in between. Right? I got a shoelace. One side says defense, one side says offense. I want to tie a knot and bring those two things closer together. Okay? So keeping your functional fighting platform in here, using any footwork that you need just to slide out of the way, just enough, not jumping back, right? That allows you to get right back into the hit. Okay? Keeping your vision on this person the entire time, watching the chest area, right? Try to keep your eyes wide open. I practice, even when I'm punching and working the bag, I do long rounds of endurance. I focus on keeping my eyes open. My eyes naturally just want to go like this, even when I'm just teaching these videos in here, because I rarely ever flinch anymore. It's almost impossible because I've trained myself not to do it. So you want to work on your hand position. If you mess up, right, throw a punch, get your hands right back. Right? Throw a punch, oh, hands right back. And you get better and better with blocking with either hand. After a while, you're not going to be so concerned of, I messed up. What you're going to be focusing on is, okay, I just stopped him, and I need to get back into the hit. So what you call a screw up, I work on getting back into the hit in here, right? Like that. So I can focus, force myself to mess up on purpose, but eventually it's not messing up. It's like, okay, that's not what I was practicing, but you know what? When you just have to react, the less you have to sit there and analyze it, the faster you can respond. Okay, so I hope that helped. Again, this is all free content. If you have not subscribed already to my channel, there's a ton of material on there that's usually not going to find for MMA to help improve the sport. Please feel free to, please give it a like, subscribe. Feel free to leave comments. Thank you and take care.